Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Creators Alliance Research Unit. No, I'm joking. I just wanted a fancy name, man. Hey, listen. This is in no way endorsed by Creators Alliance, by the way. So fair use, you know what I'm saying? Your logo is out there. It's not on your website, so it's fair use. So this is just a video that is gonna attempt to go into and to investigate the claims of Creators Alliance for the sake and wellness of the general public. And so I am interacting with their claims as they make it, or at certain points in the video, certain representatives of Creators Alliance. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, here's a disclaimer. This video is by no means an exhaustive search into Creators Alliance, but it is an appropriate search, I think, because as an international business consultant who've consulted for emerging companies and emerging economies for the past, say, 2 years, I have come to understand that there are certain key stuff that you look for in order to evaluate claims of a business. And so do not expect every single detail about Creators Alliance in this video. It is not exhaustive. It is appropriate. And it may seem a little bit convoluted, right? It may seem a little bit convoluted, but I am investigating these claims using a certain framework. I'm going to investigate some key claims from the websites coagulated together. Then I'm going to note some oddities or some peculiarities that I find to be very interesting about this entity, Creators Alliance, for better or for worse. Then I'm going to get into some red flags or green flags that I see about this entity. And then I'm going to do a business model analysis, which kind of triggered a little ROI analysis, by no means extensive, but appropriate. And then finally, I'm going to have my verdict or my conclusions. And then I'm going to have some burning questions that I have gotten answers to from certain people affiliated with Creators Alliance, which I will not name just for their own privacy. But these persons are very high-ranking persons in Creators Alliance in this region or other regions. And so I think it's worth giving their answers to certain questions that I had. Now, let's really get into it. So Creators Alliance, the first claim that I investigated was arising out of their website, creatorsinTexas.com, and also catpid.com, and some of their other websites. Now, the first claim was that the predecessor was a company called New Era Archive. I found that claim to be inconclusive because when I searched the internet and I searched business directories in the US and in the UK, I could not find a company by the name of New Era Archive that specialized in digital marketing as they claimed, and some other stuff. Social media marketing as well, social media advertising. So that is the first claim. Inconclusive. I will also add that it is unlikely that this company actually exists, but let's just say it's inconclusive. Now, the second claim is that on their websites on April 5th, they had a Series A funding from Airtree Venture Capital of $7 million US. I found no evidence from the primary source. I went to the source itself, Airtree Venture Capital, and we will actually go look to see if on their portfolio that they list Creators Alliance. You will find companies like Canva, Human Operations, so on and so forth, but Creators Alliance is nowhere listed as one of the companies that Airtree Venture Capital actually invested in. Let's go look. So here we are at Airtree Venture Capital, and here we are at their portfolio. So let's see if they list Creators Alliance as one of their companies, right? Let's go to Series A, and we've seen all the sectors. Let's see. So we see these companies: AaronX, Askable, Chemist2U, dGraph. So far, no CA, no Creators Alliance. Neura, Process Street. Oh, there's a song playing in the background. I have to stop this video. I don't want to get copyright. Okay, so let's continue. So you see a bunch of companies that Airtree Venture Capital invested in, which is the Series A funding, but we're not seeing We have never seen, we've gone through everything and we have not seen Creators Alliance. So you can look at the link in the browser tab and you can go look for yourself in all of the fundings and you would never see Creators Alliance. So no evidence to suggest that claim. So that Series A funding, if they're not listed, and why would a company not be proud if they're investing so much money into a company? Just like they're showing them off here, why are they not showing off Creators Alliance? Maybe because they haven't invested in Creators Alliance. I also found that in the Airtree Venture Capital's 2021 year in review, which is a key document because obviously you want to know what they think about their year in review, Creators Alliance claimed that they got these Series A funding in 2021. So let's look at Airtree Venture Capital's 2021 year in review and let's see if they make any mention of Creators Alliance. Hint, there is no mention made about Creators Alliance. Hey guys, unfortunately, there have been too many requests, but I'm gonna leave the link. Gonna have it in the PDF in case things slow down and you guys want to see the information for yourself. But no mention was made of Creators Alliance when I looked at it a few days ago. Now, moving from the primary source to secondary source known as Crunchbase, you can look at that to see if CA was actually part of Series A investing. Let's see. So here we are at Crunchbase, and you can see all of the Series A. You see Askable, you see Vici, Airtree, new US investors, Canva, Baka, right? So you see Build Club, Indebted, Safety Culture, and you can go all the way down, and you will not see Creators Alliance as one of those companies. You see funding round October 16th, right? 2023, right? And then you see it's Airtree Ventures. But when you go through all the way down, you will not see Creators Alliance. You won't. And so there's no evidence to suggest that indeed Creators Alliance received money from Airtree Venture Capital. Let's keep scrolling. You see Canva, LawView, Rejig, Zumo, and here we are at the end. You can show all, and you will not see Airtree Venture Capital having invested in Creators Alliance. Now we move to the third claim, which is that they have multiple rounds of Series A funding, not that they had a round, or that they were funded one time, which is the previous claim, but that they had multiple rounds. There is no evidence from the primary source, which is Airtree Venture Capital. We can go back to their site, but I'll leave you to do that on your own, or from the secondary source, Crunchbase. So there's no evidence to suggest that they actually had multiple rounds of Series A funding, which is very likely would make that claim false. On their website, creatorsinTexas.com, and also the other website, Catpit, I believe, they claim that they had a CA charity fund. That's because of their expansion into Ghana, the African region. There is no evidence to suggest that that is true. They do have news articles written, but it was written by CA on two news columns by the name of Fox 2 and Global Newswire. Fox 2 happens to be hosted by Global Newswire, and it's very peculiar, and I think that claim is untrue because if you are spending quote-unquote $50 million as a charity in the country of Ghana, there is no way local news outlets would not have reported about it, and there's no way it would not leave a digital footprint. So they're the only ones reporting on this. Whereas when we had Facebook making investment with Mark's charity, quote unquote charity, there was a lot of people reporting about it because it was verifiable and it was also a thing that people are interested in. So if you're spending $50 million, there's no way no one would be interested enough to report on it left, right, and center. The fifth claim that I investigated is that they had a $2 billion strategic marketing money to be dished out over 3 years, I believe. That's inconclusive. They also claimed to have $500 million that's going to be dished out over 3 years, I believe, which is 25% of their marketing budget. This is where I got that $2 billion figure from, and they also mention it in other parts of their website and in their materials. Now, this is inconclusive, but I would say as of research, as of today, this very moment, it is likely, very likely untrue. There are no reports or financial statements, no financials to demonstrate this claim. Interestingly, L'Oreal had an ad budget of 2.8 billion in 2020, and we knew about it because of its size and visibility. Others with similar expenditures include no less than companies like Amazon, Nestle, General Motors, where marketing expenditure, generally as a rule of thumb, ranges from 5 to 20% of revenue. So if we take that figure and just being very conservative, right? This means that Creators Alliance boasts revenue of US 10 to 40 billion US dollars. US 10 to 40 billion. This is in the league of Fortune 500 companies. Now, lucky for us, I did go into Fortune to find out about the 500 companies, and scrolling through 500 companies, I did not find Creators Alliance mentioned once. So it could be that they are a Fortune 500 company, well, a level on par with Fortune 500 level companies, and just not in the Fortune 500. That I guess that's true. No, it's not. They also claim Series B financing from RIT Capital. There's no evidence, and it's also very unlikely that that happened. I went to RIT Capital, and they have shown no record of having invested in CA despite this record on the site. Like I said again, you can send me an email. I will give you this that I'm reading from. This is my own notes, research notes. And although they do have some record in a third-party website or secondary source by the name of pitchbook.com, when you go to the primary sources, which is RIT Capital itself, or Action Capital, which is their seventh claim, it's actually no evidence to show that they actually invested in Creators Alliance. These companies make no mention. So it raises the question, okay, if they're not mentioning you, why would they not be proud of having invested in you? Like they mentioned Canva, Human Operations, they mentioned LawView, they mentioned all of these other companies, Zumo. If they have not mentioned you, chances are, did they invest in you? So here are some peculiarities of things that as I was reading legal material, privacy policy, terms of service, going through their websites, these are some oddities that I found. They write their own news columns exclusively through Global Newswire. It may appear as different names like Fox 2, but it's the same Global Newswire that comes up on the webpage despite the different domain name or different website. That's just interesting. Also, their terms of service on creatorsinTexas.com, Carone.com, CADPIT, and Carills.com all contain numerous grammatical errors. That's just odd to me because if you're a billion-dollar company that has $2 billion to spend, don't you have like a few $1,000s to spend on a team of lawyers to make sure there are no grammatical errors on your site? That's all I'm saying. Their privacy policy across sites also contains various grammatical errors. Same. One person in the office for privacy manager, and there's also that person who is the same person for data protection officer, and that person is named Francisco Sanchez. And for a company this size with 5 million plus users as at May 27th, 2024, according to creatorsinTexas.com, which is their website, they would need a team for this. Even if a fraction of that 5 million people are filing privacy claims, you would need a whole team to process that. Also, something that's just really weird to me, company timeline weirdly stops mid-year 2024. You can find that at creatorsinTexas.com, and also their other website, CADPIT. And also, final thing, just from a marketing perspective, very inconsistent brand voice across platforms for an alleged company this size and influence. I don't know. Can you just hire just like a team of marketers, communication specialists, international communication specialists? I don't know, maybe like Amazon does, or Facebook does, or even Canva does. So now we've reached a section on red flags. The first red flag is that for their terms of use, right, which is Carone.com, which is the landing page that you go on before you sign up for anything related to Creators Alliance. That's the thing in the training, in their private training that they encourage you to go to, right? That you have to put in your number and then put in a login, right? So they admitted to using AI. They call it a terms of use generator to generate their policies. And I have the link right here. Matter of fact, let's go look at it right now. Okay, guys, here we are at Carills.com, one of their landing pages. Let's go to the terms of service. And let's scroll down to see where they say that they use a terms of use generator. Now, here's what they say, right? They say some terms of use are created with the help of the terms of use generator. You cannot make this up, friends. I don't know what to tell you after this. If you're putting your legal security in the hands of an AI generator, I don't know what to tell you. Again, this is their other website, Carone.com. And it says again, some terms of use are created with the help of the terms of use generator. You cannot make this up. So friends, there you have it. Admitted to using a terms of use generator. Second red flag, they disregard the UN Convention on the Sale of Goods. Let's go to look at that. According to CreatorsInTexas.com and their terms of service, under the governing law, severability, dispute resolution, and venue, it says that these terms shall be governed and construed in accordance with the laws of the state of Texas, United States, without regard to its conflict of laws provisions. These terms shall not be governed by the United Nations Convention on Contract for the Sale of International Goods, the Uniform Commercial Code, nor Incoterms. My boy, if you ain't governing this thing by the recommended thing that you're going to use, what are you doing with your money? That's all I'm going to tell you. Although this one specifically is on the site of CreatorsInTexas.com, you never know because they have so many websites. You never know where it's going to apply or what it's going to apply to because they don't give specific transactions or specific goods that it's going to apply to. The third red flag is that they just have a bunch of ambiguous terms and broad application, right? We'll get into that a little bit more when we deal with some of the legal claims, right? But the privacy policy lacks clarity. That's a fourth red flag. Clarity and care in describing and defining personal data use. And suppose comparable entities like Canva, Human Operations, which came from the same Airtree Venture Capital investments, they have much better detailed policies with definitions and examples, right? And they follow the industry standards, of course, on reporting and user agency, like Amazon, Airtree Venture Capital itself. Let's see an example of how Creators Alliance defines personal use. So, according to Carills.com, one of their sites, the information they collect is the personal information that you are asked to provide, and the reasons why you are asked to provide it will be made clear to you at the point we ask you to provide your personal information. Really? If you contact us directly, we may receive additional information about you, such as your name, email address, phone number. Okay, those things are actually legit, right? Legit in the sense that those are things that they may actually indeed accidentally receive from you. And then they go straight to, okay, so they say we may ask you to provide contact information, including items such as your name, company name, address, email address, and phone number. And then they go straight to how they use your information. Let's look at Airtree Venture Capital and how they define personal information. This is Airtree Venture Capital's privacy policy. This is what type of personal information do we collect. They list it and then they give examples: identity data, contact data, financial information, background verification data, technical and usage data, interaction data, marketing and communications data, professional data. They even go to specify sensitive information, and they detail all of that, and then they detail how we collect your and hold your personal information. They do that, and then they say how we use your personal information, and they even have a whole table about all of this. It's crazy. Look at the table. They have a whole table, legal basis for processing. Like, they have a whole table out here. But Creators Alliance does not have that. Maybe because they used a generator, and a generator can't think of all of that. Another red flag that I saw is just a cheap AI video. You know, this is not to be disrespectful, but it's just a really cheap AI video. Like, if you're partnering with 30 plus TV companies and companies like YouTube and Zwei and all of that and TikTok, can you just not have at least one professionally done video? Like, you're partners with this, just take one of your TV commercials and put it on your site. But maybe it's because they actually don't have the money that they say they have. Maybe because they don't have these partnerships as they say they do. Now, I want to interact with a claim that one of the representatives of the company, supposedly a high-ranking member, has claimed about some legal information and your ability to sue.
Okay, because there is a work contract for you to actually sign in when you go to Me. It's right on the platform that you can actually sign. And if you actually read it, you will see everything that it connects you with the company. So if something was to happen, they would be liable to you, and you can actually do what needs to be done. That is, let me tell you where it is. Hold on. Let me go. It's under me. It's under me and it's agency authorization. When you go there, you need to sign that contract. That is your contract between you that commits you to them and them to you. So if anything was to happen, you could sue them if they didn't pay you. Okay? Oh.
When it comes to limitation of liability, now this is the landing page where you actually sign up for before you begin anything related to CA. So this is before you download the app. This is before you get into like the Binance and all of that. This is the limitation of liability. This is on the landing page. This is what you have to read before you even get into it. Here's what it says about your information on this website, particularly your dealings with CA. It says, to the fullest extent permitted by law, in no event shall the company or none of our suppliers be liable to you or any third party for any lost profits. But didn't she just say that the company would be liable to you if you want to sue them? Well, no, they actually are not liable to you. And they specify all of the types, like punitive, incidental, arising out of these terms, or your use or inability to special or punitive damage. And this is what I'm talking about. This is so awfully written. Anyway, but what is not awfully written is the draconian intent behind this. They continue by saying, to the maximum extent permitted by law, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in this agreement, stipulated that we will not be liable for any damages arising out of or related to this agreement. Liability for damages will be at all times limited to a maximum of $50. You agree that our suppliers do not assumes, horrible grammar, but do not assumes no liability arising out of or in connection with this agreement. Is this what you want? Look at a sample of the terms of service. Concerning the terms of service for their maintenance of this website, which is to protect your safety, they're gathering your information. Here's what they say. This site is provided on an as-is and as-available basis. And the company and our supplier expressly disclaims and any and all warranties of any kind, express, implied, or statutory. All warranties and conditions, including all warranties or conditions of merchantability, specific fitness for purpose, title, quiet enjoyment, accuracy, or non-infringement right. We and our suppliers make no warranty that the site will meet your requirements requests, will be available on an uninterrupted, timely, secure, or error-free basis, or will be accurate, reliable, free of viruses or other harmful code, and complete, clean, legal, or safe. Here's what they said. Let me read that over for you. They said that they cannot give you any warranty that it will be accurate, reliable, free of viruses or other harmful code, and complete, clean, legal, or safe. And of course, we have the limitation of liability. This is a different site that they have. It's, as you can see, the first one is carals.com. This one is carohn.com. And again, they repeat, liability for damages will at all times be limited to a maximum of $50. Let's say you invested 150 USDT. Your maximum amount of damages is $50. Let's say you invested $7.99 or $19.99. Let's continue going more into the legal material on this site. This one is another site, but same CA, creatorsinTexas.com. This is what it says about your remedies if in the event of a breach of contract. Let me increase that so you can see that very well. You agree that the remedy for breach of this terms of service as it relates to your purchase shall be to reject the goods, services, or digital products. You also agree that the remedy for breach of this terms of service as it relates to your purchase shall be to pursue dispute resolution as provided in the governing law, severability, dispute resolution, venue, and class action waiver, section below. Let me read that again. As provided in the governing law, severability, dispute resolution, venue, and class action waiver. These remedies intended to be your sole, again, grammatical error. These remedies intended to be your sole and exclusive remedies for any breach of this terms of service as it relates to your purchase. Let me read that again. It is your sole and exclusive remedy to any breach. You're not getting back your money. You're not getting anything paid. You're not getting paid in damages. All you're entitled to is to reject the goods. We're getting into part 2 of this analysis, this research. Welcome to the Creators Alliance Research Unit. You know, I'm just made up that name just to sound fancy, but we will get into the business model analysis. First, let us hear from a representative themselves on how exactly, or explaining one of the ways in which you can make money.
We have money just sitting there, right? You can actually take the money and you can actually make a daily income percentage-wise daily. So just an example, if you were to put 300 on the 60-day, which is this one right here, right? Hold on one second, guys.
We're waiting.
If you were to put the 300 on the 60-day, you would get 1.5% daily, right? For 60 days. That's $4.5 or 4.5 USDT per day. That's 270 USDT earned over 2 months. So after 2 months, your 300 is now 570 because you're going to get your 300 back and you're going to get 270 on top of your 300. Let me know in the chat by ones. Isn't that worth it? Don't you think that's worth it?
No, it is not worth it. That's not how math works. If I invest $300 for 60 days, the first $300 is not plus $300, it's negative $300. If I make back that $300, it's gonna go to zero. It's minus 300 plus 300. So I'm actually making $270. Now, I already made back my $300, so I recouped my initial investment. But the question I want to ask you is, how is this going to be sustained for 5 million people? If everyone's making the money and withdrawing it and then reinvesting it, eventually you're going to end up with a cumulative loss. Let me explain. Minus 300. I get back $270, right? If I reinvest that into a higher investment bracket, which let's say is 259 US, right? I reinvest that back. And then it's going to take me longer to get back that 259 because it starts for 180 days, then 210 days, then 300 and something days, and then it goes up. So it's going to take longer for me to recoup my initial investment, which means that I'm actually not really getting back the money that I invested. If I do get it back, it's just gonna force me to go up to a higher tier, and it's gonna take longer for me to get that back. Guys, do you not understand what that means? It means every time it's gonna take you longer to get back your money. It's giving them time for new people because it's gonna tell you, okay, recruit new people. And as you recruit new people and they invest, you're gonna feel like, oh yeah, but because I'm getting back my money. No, it's because you're funneling all of that new investments to pay the earlier people. That's why they need that time exposure bracket. It's simple mathematics. It's not common sense, but it's simple mathematics. This is not how money works. You do not make $570. You make $270 because minus 300, which is your initial investment, plus the money that you have to recoup is $300. Furthermore, it's unsustainable. But don't take my word for it. Now, she is going to explain to you, herself, not me, she is going to explain to you literally what I just said. It's going to force you to go up to the higher tiers because higher initial investments mean that they could stagger the payments better because they are making you wait a few days. It's literally 6 months. But they're going to make you wait in order to recoup your initial investment. So she's going to explain to you exactly what she means and why they want you to go up to a higher tier.
Main thing is, if you really want this as a business, come in at the highest pack. And the reason for that is because it allows you to always get the highest points. So then that means you're going to move much faster than the average person that comes in at a lower package. Because if you come out at a lower package, your points are going to be less and you can only make as high as you come in. So even if somebody comes in above you, you're not going to get the full points that you could possibly get because why? You're below the package that they're coming in on. So just to give an example is that if somebody comes in at the 259 package, right? And they bring somebody in on the 1999 package. Usually, if they were at the 1999 package as well, they would get 1,000 points, right? Which would be $100 or 100 USDT. But because they're at the 259, they're only going to get 140 points. Does that make sense? So now, technically, you've lost, what, $86?
Oh.
Okay? So you see where really strategically deciding that, am I going to play this as a game? Or am I really going for this?
No, I see It's not playing it as a game. I see where you're robbing me. Because if I invest a certain amount of money and then I lose money and then that loss is going to accumulate, right? It will, because if I try to get 5 people in my team, that means I'm going to lose $86 times 5. So you guys see where you're losing money. It's all about it's painted as if like you're gaining money, you're gaining, but you're actually losing because and it makes sense because the amount of people that you get to initially invest and then you have to wait 6 months at the $130 tier level in order to make back your money. That's just to recoup your initial investment and then you make a flimsy $270. My friend, if you were to work a normal job for 6 months, you will make a lot more than 270 US dollars. Do I have to tell us that or do I have to spell it out? In addition, the fact that it is pushing you to invest more initially and also telling you to recruit other people and actually having demerits for recruiting people lower or higher than the pack that you bought initially. It's classic Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme does not have a real product or service that they're selling. There's no real economic activity other than new investments. And so they're pushing you to not just to invest more initially, but also to recruit people. And if you don't recruit people, then you won't ordinarily make money. Think of it like this. If I'm a farmer, right, and I'm planting 5 peas, 5 yams, and 5 potatoes. And each month I'm selling that. If I quote unquote recruit people, if I recruit people, I will make more money, right? But if I do not recruit people, I will still make money. I'm not going to lose anything. It's tied to my own productivity because it's a product or service. Here, your money is literally tied to the people that you recruit, such that if you don't recruit, the most you can get is $270. When they do say that there's no upper limit, that's actually false. There is an upper limit. And it's going to force you to move up your packs or to invest by having more people recruited. That being said, let's look at their business model analysis. We had some before just now. So I would describe this as a MLM, multi-level marketing. Just know, disclaimer, there is nothing inherently wrong with multi-level marketing. It can be legitimate, but it is not ideal because it forces you to recruit people, right? It resembles a Ponzi scheme for the reasons that I just said. Profit derivation is unclear despite their service brief. So apparently they have these investors or these companies that pay Creators Alliance to advertise. And so you are buying in to watch. First of all, why do you need to buy in to watch videos to make money? Why? Let me just ask you that question. Tell me, how does it make sense? But anyway, so you're buying in and this platform brings together sharers and creators together. It's called Creators Alliance, but so far the only thing I hear emphasized is just clicking in and sharing videos. That's all I'm seeing, right? But maybe I'm wrong, right? So creators make videos, get rewarded for hitting target. But that's not you and me. You and me, we're just watching videos. So it's unclear if the creators have to actually make payments upfront. We have no idea who those people really are. We have YouTube listed, Zwei listed, TikTok listed, but we don't know for sure. There's no copy of any contracts or no news brief or no reporting on these quote unquote multi-million-dollar contracts. Sharers are rewarded upon completing tasks, but they must invest first. That's a scam. Based on this business model, there is great concern surrounding financial sustainability. I'll tell you why. This is an excerpt from behindmlm.com, right? So you have to invest Tether, USDT, it's a cryptocurrency, right? And this is also a red flag, which I forgot to put earlier, but a red flag is that they're using a decentralized system, which is the cryptocurrency system, in order to evade regulation. And I'm saying evade regulation because I am not certain, but it is very likely that the only reason why it is using cryptocurrency and the crypto market is because of its decentralization and its lack of regulation. If you put all of this activity in a normal banking system, you will get flagged. I'm telling you, you will get flagged. And I'll tell you why. Right? These are my notes. Like I said, you can email me for this PDF. They say that they have referral commissions, but the business model and the business activities are so complicated that it's not even disclosed, and no one will even realize that it's not disclosed, right? So here's the thing: full participation in the attached income opportunity requires a minimum investment of 130 USDT. Why? Right? And this is my source, take it with a grain of salt. But here's my ROI analysis. It's not very complicated math. It's very simple math. What I did is that I took the income brackets, I took the investment opportunities, and I looked at the amount of days it takes, and I plotted a graph, right? To see how much more money you're making on your investment, right? So they claim that the investment returns 900 USDT in 180 days based on behind MLM.com. This is ridiculous. Even if you did get 570, right? Instead of the 900. This is ridiculous. These returns are far above what any legitimate investment or business model could sustain. Let me give you a little example. You put your money in the bank and you wait 6 months. How much money is your investment going to go up by? Maybe $1, maybe $2, maybe $6, sometimes even $8. Here it's going up $270. Now, friends, if this doesn't ring a bell, I don't know what's going to ring a bell. This is because of different regulations and different requirements and compliance requirements in the banking system and also in the financial market system, right? This is dealing with foreign exchange. If you didn't know, international finance is incredibly volatile. And if you have a forward contract or a future contract, or if you have any contract dealing with foreign currency, there is this concept of hedging, which is the idea that I want to minimize my exposure to losses, but I want to maximize my exposure to gains. This completely ignores that, although even though you're dealing with different currencies, especially the US currency. So this basically means that the fact that they guarantee returns up to 592% to 1,310% means that it is absurd. It is absurdly high and it is unsustainable. Even in high-risk financial markets, annual returns above 20 to 50% are extremely rare. Let me read that over again. Even in high-risk financial markets, annual returns, which means 360 to 365 days, returns on your investment above 20 to 50% are extremely rare. Friends, I've worked with international businesses from Brazil. I've worked with businesses in the UK, in the EU, and to justify a 3% increase or 3% return on investment, it's going to be hell on earth. They're going to ask you all sorts of questions. They're going to need to look at your financial reports, your financial statements. They have zero financial statements, but yet they're guaranteeing you 592% to 1,310%. Friends, let me give you a thought experiment. Go to GIDC, go to GDB, go to the Caribbean Development Bank, go to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and tell them that you are going to guarantee them, right, in 180 days, a 592% return on investment. They are going to ask you to visit the mental hospital. This only works if new investors keep pouring in. Once recruitment slows down, the payouts will stop and people will lose their money as it crashes. It can take a few weeks, a few months, or even a few years. It will crash sooner or later. This crash will feature newer entrants losing their investments, while the scheme creators and the earliest entrants will profit. Friends, there is no way to know if you're a part of the earliest entrants. You may be like, oh, but I was one of the first persons in Grenada to buy into this, and I'm already withdrawing 900 and something EC dollars. I'm already withdrawing 2,000 EC dollars. Friends, there is no way to know if you're one of the earliest entrants. And just because you're withdrawing $2,500 does not mean that you made $2,500. It could very well be that the money that it took for you to move from the 130 to the 1999, that it took from you to move from the 130 to the 799 is actually a loss that you're making. And it's very likely a loss because when you have to factor in the translation funds, the translation fees, the transaction fees, you end up making a loss. And they don't tell you that it takes $7 to transfer. It's in the private course. It's in the private training. They tell you that up to 21 US dollars. And if you have 21 US dollars being subtracted as a transaction fee over a couple of withdrawals, it will accumulate very quickly. You will end up making a loss very quickly. Friends, here's my conclusion. This is not financially viable. It is unsustainable and it is very likely fraudulent. And here are some comments. The numbers confirm that it's a Ponzi scheme in disguise. Avoid investing. No legitimate business can generate this kind of constant, consistent returns without fraudulent practices. This model cannot sustain itself because one, it has no real revenue generation outside of new investments, right? Though they say that there are, income activities, for example, advertisers creating videos and them paying them for the videos to be watched, that is not a real economic activity. And even if it were, we have no evidence of that actually being the case. We have no contracts there. We have no publicized agreements. But we know for sure that it's possible to publicize those because YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, they all do that. They all show us the ad revenue, they show us the calculations they make. It's very transparent. Creators Alliance does not show us that. We actually don't know who these people are except for those brand names that they called. Number two, guaranteed high returns are mathematically and financially impossible without some kind of external profit. And number three, payouts will stop once new recruits slow down. So there's a heavy drive and a heavy push to recruit new people. And that has to never stop for you to get paid. That's why they're staggering it at 180 days, 210 days, 300 and some days, which we know will happen at some point. That will crash, right? Or at least it will start to slow down and then crash because of product life cycle theory. You're going to learn that if you go to business school, right? So here are my burning questions. What is the real source of funds for worldwide campaigns? We've checked Air3 Venture Capital. We've checked RIT Capital. We've checked the other capital source, which is Action Capital. We have not seen any mention of Creators Alliance on their own websites. We've checked Crunchbase. So what is the real source of funds? What is the real source? They claim that businesses give them money, but we have no mention of contracts. There's no financial statements to show where the money's going. So what is the real source? Creators Alliance? Tell us. Where are the financial statements for a company this size? I reached out to the leader and I reached out to another executive, and I listened to the private training. And there's no financial statements. How is it that you're this size? You're this company. You're alleged this size. 5 million plus people, $2 billion in marketing expenditure. And we can infer that there's 10 to 40 billion US dollars in revenue, and you don't have financial statements? That's crazy. Who owns this company? Who manages it? Who are the executives? Well, let's go and see what one of the executives, or one of the leaders, one of the managers in the region told me. They sent this to me. They told me that the core team consists of Archie John Nicol, Nicole Archie, Denton Barrister, and Fletcher Frankson. I have found nothing on Nicole Archie, Denton Barrister, and Fletcher Frankson. I have tried my best to search. I've searched phone directories. I've searched in the US, in the UK. I've searched, and I cannot find these people. Now, if I search Mark Zuckerberg, I will find him. If I search Jeff Bezos, I will find him. If I search Elon Musk, I will find him. If I search the creators and the executives behind Canva, I have found them. I have found the executive behind Human Operations. I've found them behind Zumo. I've found them behind LawView. I've found them. They maintain social media profiles, LinkedIn profiles, public records, previous business experience. I've found them. I have not found these three people. I found something on Archie John Nicol, but it is, the Nicol is spelled Nicolle, so I don't know if it's the same person. What do you have to say? What do you think? Also, I need to ask, why are there so many sites to host one entity? It's literally the same landing page, but they have it on 3 different sites, and then they have an additional 2 sites. Why? And what are the revenue generating economic activities? Now let me give you a quick lesson in financial analysis, cash flow 101. You need to have 3 components to have good cash flow, right? And those 3 things need to interact with each other. Operating, investing, and financing activities. No balanced economic activities from a business, from a legitimate business, lacks in any one of those. Let me explain what I mean. Companies buy and sell. Companies invest. And companies have to get money to fund these 2 things. You have to have money to fund, to finance your investments. We have no indication of any investment activities that Creators Alliance is doing. Where are the buildings that they have bought? Where's the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure that they've bought? We would never know because we have no financial statements. They claim that they have been funded by Series A and Series B funding, but we have no mention of them in the original sources files. But we do know that they have operating activities. Yeah, we do know, because people are buying into their thing every day. We do know that. They have gold coins, which have no real market value. It's just a perceived value inside of the app. You cannot transfer a gold coin for $1. You can only transfer it within the system, and they decide to pay you back, which, by the way, if you look at their terms of service, they can choose to suspend that at any time. They can choose to suspend benefits at any time. Go read the terms of service. You will see that. So, in the end, what is my verdict? My verdict is, before you invest, know what you're getting yourself into. I can say, after having done all my research, it is very likely, it is highly likely, that Creators Alliance is fraudulent, it is a Ponzi scheme, and you should avoid investments. Now, I have some bad news. If you just invested 130 USDT, if you just invested 259 USDT, or 7.99, or 19.99, or 15.99, or 21.99, and you want to get out now, I'm sorry, you've lost that money. But it is better to cut your losses and get out now than to try to play the quote-unquote game that they call it. It's a game, right? It is better to cut your losses now. It is better to tell your network, listen, let's get out. Because there's no telling that this will last for 180 days. It's lasted this far. Some people have been in it for more than a year. Some people have been in it for about a year. This does not mean that it is legitimate. The fact that something persists into the future does not mean that it is legitimate. Organized crime has been going on for years. Human trafficking has been going on for years. It does not mean that it is legitimate. Friends, I encourage you, do not buy into this. Avoid investing. Thank you very much. And good night, Stadium.